flying in the air. Right before I came here, I was getting my little soy milk in a container and it just went all over me, all over the kitchen. And Austin's all, don't cry over. I'm all, don't you say it. Like, I was like, watch your words. It was like, and then I forgot my tea. I forgot my water. It was like, oh yeah, it was, yeah. It was one of apparently. If I there, yeah. It is right. It is that post full moon nonsense. Okay. Sorry, I have a lot. We have a lot. We have a long day together, so I have to go over. Well, good morning. Good to see you all. I've missed you. It's so nice to like see you all like in person and like, yeah, and friends at home when you watch this. I miss you too. Um, let's see. Let's do a quick check-in debrief about this morning because I know we've got, I feel like we need to talk about it. I'm one of, uh, my belief is when even when you're teaching and when things come up is like state the obvious of like because there's no need. I don't want anyone to like just be sitting here ruminating all day about something that if some feelings got hurt, like whatever that may be, like um I think that that's important to like hold. I want to hold space for you all. So for how because what I heard, and let me just kind of summarize, and then feel free to give me specifics or just what we can do to move forward and kind of all of that. That feedback did not go well this morning from Sam, was what I heard. That it was a little harsh, a little critical. Is
Yeah,
that
just for one person in particular. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was just like, you guys did great about this, and you did great about this, and like everything you did was wrong. So that was, I don't know. It
okay?
kind of made me feel yucky.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm assuming it was you, right? Yeah. Since yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that that happened. Definitely not like Sam, but we all have our day, like sometimes I will say you are lucky you don't have Austin for feedback. Uh, because he has made people cry. We'll just but it can get harsh sometimes, but that doesn't sound like it went down a road that was actually like helpful. So that I apologize for. I mean, not that I was there. We will hopefully it got recorded and we can kind of review to be like, hey, let's learn from this. Because we all want feedback to be supportive for you all. We want you all to learn from what you get from the feedback. And, you know, feedback is a tricky thing, right? It's one of those where it's like, it can sting, it can be truthful, and it can be completely off the mark, And so try not to internalize it too much. And I think Maria, you're doing a great job of just like, yep, that's not, yeah, um, yeah. And so there's a fun little trick I can give you all that when I'm teaching, I learned from one of my teachers, that if something comes your way, like when you're teaching, if like say a student does something weird, because we have that with students, that things will come up sometimes, or if you get some feedback and you go like this, you go swaha, not my shit, swaha. Swaha means to offer it up. It's to offer up to the fire. It's to like release. So this is where we could be a little swaha so that it doesn't stick to you, right? So that it's not staying on you because you don't need to hold it. We will take care of it and move forward for you from here so that we can help have a nice, like safe space for you all with teaching. Because I don't want everyone to be all afraid now to be like, oh God, I'm afraid to get feedback sort of thing, right? We will clear things up. So one, again, I'm sorry. And two, thank you all for saying something. Because some people wouldn't. Some people would sit and like sit on it and then just harbor it and then not say anything. And then in 2 months be like, but I got that and you're like, wait, what? So thank you for just being adults and
And I think that's
having,
what point it got to the point where you needed to say something because
yeah,
feedback.
yeah,
A little much and it just kind of added on top
yeah.
of it, so
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a question too, because
Yeah.
it feels like we're getting a lot of different information about sadhana where it's like, um, basically it's like, do the cambio sequence and that's it. And
No.
I know, okay, so thank you, because it was, I got.
Absolutely. The cambio sequence is there for those who have just finished the training,
Mhm.
or if that's what you feel more comfortable doing, but it is not necessary. You don't have to teach the cambio sequence.
Okay, and then like, one of the things that kind of confused me, because it happened yesterday too, is like, the teachers were doing more of a slow flow, and it was like, I didn't get the top bus, like, that was just the feedback, and I'm like, for me, slow flow is like, I love it, and that is where I get my top bus. I don't when I'm just doing like regular vinyasa.
Mhm.
So like at that point, while the facilitators are giving feedback, is it okay to just kind of be like, I
Yeah.
felt the top bus? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you can definitely, you guys be a part of the process. If you all, I mean, are you all in alignment that you're happy to get feedback from each other too, right? Like, does that feel okay to be like, actually, I felt, because it's like feedback can be really subjective. Our teachers try to be objective as best they can, but that subjectivity can come into the mix. And it is giving feedback is hard, you all. I will tell, so here, I'm gonna call myself out. So probably about 15 years ago, when I was teaching and managing at Core Power, one of my teachers who I love so much, she's amazing. And I took her class, and afterwards I go, what the F was that? Because I was like, what even was that? Which I'm like, I should not have said that. That was not, could have filtered that a little differently in hindsight. It's because we all get very invested. It's very personal to all of us. And I know Sam takes it very seriously. And sometimes when that happens, we take it a little too seriously and go down, it's like we forget when people are learning. It's like, when you're learning, you're going to fuck up and that's okay. Like, this is like the time for that to happen. It doesn't have to be perfect. Um, and so, yes. Oh, hello, Moth. Hello, buddy. No. So, well, hello. Yeah, but it's a good reminder for us too, right? For how we give feedback and yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, like, as a reminder to all of us in giving feedback, like, we are all also teachers, you know, it's like, we're not 200 hour, I mean, some of us are 200-hour graduates, but you're a teacher, so your feedback can be just as important, not that there doesn't have to be this hierarchy.
No.
We have the lead teachers that are there to kind of guide us. However, they are also just people and teachers too. So
Yeah.
understand, like, you have some weight with what you feel and what you
Yeah.
offer to the other teachers around you. So it doesn't feel like only this person can say if it went good or if it went bad. We can
Yeah.
kind of, like, trust
And
the other
saying good or
teachers.
bad doesn't
Yeah,
really,
or
yeah.
whatever, it
Mhm.
went not as rigid as some people would want it to
Yeah.
be, or X, Y, and Z. So just to have that reminder, because it's kind of nice when you're in the student role to remember that you're also a teacher.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
you have the authority to give feedback also.
Yes. You do. Yes, Marie.
Maybe have the time to, watch maybe, 10, 15 minutes of my.
Yeah.
students and give me feedback, I think that would be helpful.
Absolutely. Hopefully, did it get recorded? Do you all know?
Yeah, I was.
Yes. Okay, great.
This is the beginning.
Yeah, that's what Amy said. Amy said there was some stuff. So, okay. But yeah, yes. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look because we're not going to leave you all just hanging like that. Yeah. No, I know. It's, yeah. I mean, we love you guys. We want this to be like, supportive but we're humans and people, we mess up, so yeah. Yes,
I
Peggy.
just wanna say Amy was good about saying, this is subjective, right? When she would say, these are just some things like to tweak it, but she kept the overall, like, but you did a good job.
Mhm.
But just some learning points.
Yeah.
By the way, this is subjective.
Yeah,
right?
Amy's great at feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just helpful for those who are like, of course, we're not gonna do it exactly the way maybe it should be done, but because we're learning. That's why we're in teacher training.
Yeah.
But I think to find that balance between,
Yes.
we all get a little bit nervous,
Yes.
Like, I can teach a class, but I don't wanna teach it for a teacher, so.
Yeah.
what can I say, right?
Yeah.
So, Not when they're right there yet.
Yeah.
right? So,
It's
but
all right. I
wanna
still get
say,
nervous.
the
Yeah.
Motive for good, I feel like the goal of the teachers is to help us.
Yes.
I think sometimes they forget that we are,
Yeah.
we're learning. This
Mhm.
whole can be a way of doing it.
Yes,
Not the
absolutely.
only way.
No.
Some are-
Oh my
but not
gosh,
the
no.
only way. And still, I wanna say, talking about adjustments. She doesn't love adjustments. I said, I didn't do any adjustments in Kundalini. If you teach here, you do the way Cambia wants, but if you teach somewhere else, you don't have to ever give adjustments.
Yeah.
As long as there's no wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just what we're learning.
Yeah, when I teach at other places, I don't always adjust because it's just not where the
Right.
thing where, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I also think that it's important for the 300-hour teacher training to keep in mind, and allow the space for the teachers to find their own voice. Right?
Mhm.
Like for the 200 hours, it's really important to be more organized in that way. Like, okay, this is the sequence, these are the poses that you do them. But for the 300 hours, okay, you know this, here's more, and find yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't think that that was necessarily supported.
Yes. Heard, friends, heard. Heard. Yeah.
Back to what we were learning yesterday,
Yeah.
is that integrating everything and getting the knowledge, remembering it, getting everything put together, and then finding it and pulling it together with your
Yeah.
voice, the
Mhm.
same message, but your
Mhm.
knowledge base. you know?
Yes. Which is oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just think that it's really awesome and important that like we feel at home enough and safe enough here that we can, So I
Yeah.
just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Anyone else need anything off their chest? Like, right. I mean, I should be careful with saying that. I know.
And I do just want to say thank you for your support and for giving me feedback after class.
No, I want to know what you taught. I'm dying to know. I'm
It
just,
was watch my whole sequence.
I'm like, what happened? I can't.
I mean, but very precise and
Yeah.
very well thought out, but yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't anything like, oh, what are you doing?
Not like, right. Not like I don't, oh, you guys haven't seen it. So when we were on our trip, we took a class in Amsterdam. I don't know if any of you have heard this, but Austin did a bunch of yoga in Brussels. It was funny. He kept going and he would come back with stories of, I mean, he took some real shit yoga classes. He can tell you all about those from what he relayed to me. He would say some things and I'm like, I would have walked out of that class. I would have not. But we did go to one that the teacher, it was the owner of the studio. The class was 90 minutes and it was great. He'd teach in English and then he'd switch to Dutch every now and then. And one of my favorite things he did was that he called everybody poopies. He's like, okay, poopies, come down to your mat. It was like the best. So I was like, oh my God, I love it. So that was really funny. But he taught over 26 minutes. He ran over. I was like, what the hell is it? It was a 90-minute class. And I was like, I'm like, I didn't want to go to that class to begin with because I wanted to go to a shorter class because I'm like, we have things to see and, but I still wanted to go to yoga. And then I'm just like, what? And then he like made some joke about, you can leave some more money at the door for giving you extra time. And I'm like, right. So
That is
I know.
so, yeah.
Well, ironically, I just saw in a yoga teacher post recently, that happened. Someone was like, the teacher taught 90 minutes and went over by 20. And it was like, what? It was just so strange. I don't understand. Like, I mean, I've gone over before 10 minutes one time, I'll call myself out again, over at the other studio, we had a 10-15 class and my brain could not get that. I kept thinking like, the quarter hour would just throw me. And Austin and Kristen were both in that class and we're like going along. I'm like, I go to wheel. And then I'm like, shit. It was like, I was like, we are going to be over today, friends. I am so sorry because I thought this class ended at the 30. I know. I was like, fortunately, it was fine, like everybody, but I also felt terrible. I was like, I don't want to take people's time, right? So, okay. Well, today, okay, so let's all take a big breath. Let's take a big breath in, let it go. Swaha, swaha. Um, oh, don't do that. Oh, you're gonna take him out. Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna leave him like that. I was like,
Well,
don't leave.
let me try to get him out and see if he'll.
I was like, don't leave him covered.
I had two magpies in my house yesterday.
Oh, inside.
Wow. Inside. Flying around, trying to get out of the window.
Oh my God.
Magpies are.
They are, they-
I have a screen that's for my dog, and it just came through.
oh man.
I thought my dog was tearing up stuff.
Oh boy.
I did not kill them either.
God, they're so big. We had a cat one time that brought in a crow through the doggy door and when I was in high school and I was like, oh my God, my mom. Yeah.
I'm glad you said in high school, cause I was like, did Amber cry?
No, this was high school. It was fine. It got out. I was probably more traumatized than anything. Okay, so here we are. So now today's going to be a lot of putting things together. That's what we'll be doing. So there's going to be a lot of movement, lots of like up and down and like just moving around and trying stuff, playing, really applying a lot of stuff from Amy, from really everything from your toolkit that you've kind of built up to this point. And we're just going to really build that up so that when you meet with your next private client, that you'll have even more to work with them. Um, And really, and as we do this, so a couple things to keep in mind. One, that these are going to be for your clients, but also for you. Today will be, you're going to be wearing two hats. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to be thinking about a teacher and how I can use this with my students. And also like, how does this apply to me? Is there anything going on in my body physically? Is there something that I'm working with that I've got that I can kind of use as well? Hi, Hannah. So that's going to be kind of fun to like see like where in your bodies, like how does this apply to you? So you kind of go back and forth with your hats of like, okay, me as a teacher, me as a student, and how does that look like and feel like for yourself? Okay. So let's first, let's ohm a little bit, shall we? Just to kind of swaha the things a little bit more. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. So you may or may, I don't know if you've probably not done this one before, but, it's a tool to kind of build the energy up and so that we have kind of like the consciousness kind of up here so we can learn, be creative, be awake and alert and present. And then at the end of the day, we're going to go the opposite direction to kind of draw things down, to recenter and like solidify it as we leave. Okay. So also help me remember that we are closing with it today. Let me grab my little and how it's going to be, it's like a version of rolling ohms. So what we'll do is we'll go clockwise first. So I'll start and what'll happen is as soon as Anna hears me start to ohm, then you're going to start to ohm. And as soon as you hear Anna ohm, or you start to ohm. And then it's going to go like that all the way around. Okay. Yeah. And then once Nathaniel finishes, then we'll all do just like one big ohm together. Okay. Does that make sense? Are we clear? Okay. So yeah, just keep ohming. Yeah, no, just keep ohming, keep going. And then when it gets that full circle, we'll do one more together. Okay. Okay. So let's take a big breath in and out. Breathe in. Oh. Together. Oh. Softly open the eyes. How'd that feel? Kind of fun, isn't it? It's fun to like, you can just feel like a little vortex. We're just like lifting things up. Okay, great. Let's see. So today our theme is this top sutra right here, Stira Sukham Asanam. What does this mean? Does anybody remember? 2.46 is the sutra. Anyone? Anyone? It's yeah, so steady and ease and asana. So that's trying to find that comfortable seat in the practice. And so we're working towards this and knowing that like the kind of the how we do anything is how we do everything, that kind of expression, right? When we start to look at this. And so we're moving towards swasta, which means health. And it's that if I stay within myself, then I'm healthy, right? That we're looking at like how can we bring our students back to into their body to really live and be in that space of health versus vyadi, which is illness. So that's that disconnection, that's something kind of missing, that's kind of missing, right? That connection that's a miss within. So we're looking at, can we find some steadiness and ease and pivoting towards health in whatever form or fashion we're working with our clients. So we're going to do a lot of stuff's going to feel like Anamaya Kosha, right? We're going to work a lot of that physical, but as we know, when we start to dive into this stuff, there are deeper layers in the koshas that we're actually going to be hitting, that will kind of show up for your students. You're going to witness a lot of stuff. You'll be like, oh yeah, that is more, Vigna, like, okay, interesting, so just kind of keep your eyes open for that as we're kind of moving and doing stuff today. Okay. Um, let's look at my notes here. We do have, let's look in the manual here. Let me pull that up. You do have this section here. What is happening here? Zoom. Let me see, where is it? It's towards the end, so 3.1-ish, I think, that you can kind of reference.
Saw 3.1 yesterday. Yoga for optimal functioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my gosh, mine's. Let me go to my. Mhm. Sorry, it was not like opening. You know when it just like partially opens? So I'm going to another place here to do. We are gonna be on, I'm getting closer. We are 3.2. Yes, 3.2. So that's where we are at. Perfect. So this is kind of to look at what we're going to go through today. So just to kind of get you an idea of like what the overall picture of today was going to look like. So some tools for you and your students. We're going to do some body scanning. We're going to use the joint freeing series as an assessment tool and as kind of prescriptions for our students. And applying a lot of critical thinking. So this is where you start to think of like all this stuff of like, how do we put all this together? What is that going to look like in practical sense with your students, with your clients? Then we're going to do some breath work, the body scanning. I've got some other tools. We've got the tennis balls again that we're going to get out, and we're going to be using those a little bit today. So a lot of fun stuff to kind of get to play with. This is always such a fun day. There's so much to cover, but it's like, I love it. It's very, very exciting. So what we're going to do first now is I want you all, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to have you stand up And I just want you to walk around a little bit. So we're just gonna get up and walk and move around the room a little bit. Just, yep, I love it. Just however you want to move, right? Just walk and just notice how it feels walking. Like, how does the body feel? How's your breath? I mean, do you feel like you need to do a little jig? You know, what? Do you know, noticing like how you place your feet? Love it, Amber. Yeah, like, are you like Austin? Do you walk on your toes? Are you like, do you lead heel first? Like, just noticing like, wow, how do my feet land when I'm walking? Good. And then just pause. I want you to stop and just take a couple deep breaths. And just notice, how does that feel? How does it feel to just take a little bit of movement? Nice, good. And then go back, have a seat, just sit back down. How did that feel? Lovely. What'd you notice?
I noticed that I supinate when I walk. I mean, I always knew that, but like it's really apparent on the hard floor.
Oh, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I also noticed there's like a tendency to try to want to change your walk when you think about it, or like to hyperfixate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else? Anything else?
More than just like, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just that sagittal plane. You're all, get me, do it different. Love that. Right. You're on a cookie. You're like, I gotta have a cookie. Okay. Love it. Okay. So let's from here, I want you to come to, wait, is everybody back or did we run to the bathroom? Do we? Am I gonna be chasing you guys around today? Be like, come back, come back. I want us to, we're going to take a moment here and have you come to a tall seated position. And we're going to just take a moment. We're going to find Pali Mudra. So you'll bring your ring and thumb finger to touch, and then you cross your middle finger over your index finger. Okay. And then just let your arms rest here by your side or onto your lap. And just take a couple deep breaths. So we're just going to tune in a little bit here, breathing. So I'll just, before I say more about it, we'll wait for Anna to get back in here, but just taking some moments here to just breathe and just notice as you hold this mudra. Breathe, steady breaths in and out. Watch your breath flowing. Knowing this mudra is all about cultivating your inner trust, your inner guide. Especially as you are stepping into this path of working one-on-one with people, to really trust and build that trust in yourself and your abilities. Let that confidence begin to build. Just watching the breath move up and down the spine. Maybe a little bit more space in between each vertebra. And you really feel that full yogic breathing, breathing into the whole body, the front, the sides, the back. Trusting in your inner guide for support for your spiritual journey, whatever that looks like for you. And now reflecting on your inner guide and how it supported you along your journey, even when things get rocky and uncertain. Ultimately transforming your challenges into opportunities for learning and awakening. Take a big breath in and out. Not trusting in the guidance of my inner being, I journey forward confidently. Trusting in the guidance of my inner being, I journey forward confidently. One more time, trusting in the guidance of my inner being, I journey forward confidently. And now release the mudra. Like wiggle the fingers. Take a big breath in and out. Nice. And then eyes can open. Alrighty. How'd that feel? Feel nice? I know. I love Polly. It's such a good one, right? It's like, yeah. It's like a Wonder Woman. Feels very like you could shoot out some webs or something. Yes. So, because there will be moments you'll be like, how will I ever remember all this stuff? Trust me, you will. And you'll be like, how will I ever be able to do this with people? Trust that you will know what to do when you're face to face with that person. You'll be surprised at what comes up where you're like, oh yeah, this seems, just trust your instincts with that. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is let's do a little tool with breath. Do we have straps in here? We do. Some. Okay, let's see. Let's all grab a strap real quickly. We're gonna use this. How are we doing temperature wise? I know I'm kind of chilly too. I'm feeling, I think this is gonna be the story of today.
It was yesterday as well. Yeah, we were hot, cold.
But I try to just be vocal about how we're at with the heat.
I don't have any issues with that.
Okay, good. You're like, no, you have unleashed Pandora's box here. It's open. Okay, all right, first, what we're gonna do, have you just lie down. You can lie down on your mat or on the floor, doesn't matter. So we're first just gonna do a quick little body scan. And this can be something you can do with your clients when you're just kind of, when you first start with them, of like, how are they doing? If they seem a little kind of thrown off a bit, you need to just ground them down. All right, take a big breath in and out. Just starting to bring awareness to your breath. Notice your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Become aware of how your body moves or doesn't move as you breathe in and out. Notice, can you hear anything? Is there any sound with your breath? Sound with the inhale and the exhale. And notice the feeling of air moving through your nose, your mouth, and your throat. Become aware of the length of your inhales and the length of your exhales. And notice whether your breath feels easy and calm, or does it feel a little tense or constrained? And now begin to shift your awareness away from your breath and to your body. Notice if there are any areas of your body that are calling out to you. If so, draw your attention to them. In addition, notice if there are any areas where you don't feel anything. Just this kind of non-existent, nothing in particular. Become aware of the sense of energy in your body. And take some time to scan your body, noticing the whole front side of your body, from your feet through your legs, your pelvis, your belly, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, and face. And then explore sensations in the back of your body, your heels, your calves, your thighs, your glutes, your lower back, middle, upper back, shoulders, neck, and head. Now shift your awareness back to your breath and start to lengthen your breath, making the inhales and exhales the same length. You set the rhythm, but try to keep them even and steady. Feel your breath become calm. Feel your mind become calm. And feel your body become calm. Continue with long, calm breathing, equal inhales and exhales. Take one more big breath in. Now, nice big exhale, let it go. Let's take another breath in and a nice ah sound, a nice little sigh. Just let that go. Good. And then slowly start to bring a little movement into the body. Taking your stretches, even though I know you all look so cozy right now, but you have to wake up. I'm so sorry. But eventually making your way to seated. Reba's like done for the day. Mhm. All right, how'd that feel? Right? It's like a little mini nidra almost, right? Like a little baby nidra, a nice little scan. Right? It doesn't take much. That's the thing. Is like with a lot of this stuff is like a little goes such a long ways, you know? I last week we taught Austin and I worked at CCL, our other job, and I taught the yoga for the week, and I had the feedback I got from one of the women that I was coaching, she was like, I've been so intimidated from yoga always, my whole life. And it really had me reflecting on that. And she's like, you made it approachable. You made it feel like, oh, I can do this. And it's like that, it's like these little things, right? So for someone the first time to do Shavasana, when they're just like, oh, this is what relaxation feels like, and I think there was like 2 minutes that I had them in something like that, and this was maybe 5 that you all just did, maybe about 5 minutes. So like you can give people these little bits here and there, right? It doesn't have to be a full hour that, especially when you're working on a protocol for your students, they don't, you know, less is more, as you know, right? We've probably learned that. Yes, on you learn that you're like, yes, I gave them too many things, that's kind of how that goes. But this can be a nice way to help people start to get into their body. Okay, so let's look at with the breath. Let me see. What are we going to do here? Let's do a couple things of just noticing the breath. We've got that strap. So take the strap and wrap it around your bottom rib cage. I didn't grab a strap, which is funny, but that's fine. I don't need to. I can just use my fingers. Oh, thanks, Ethan. I was like, I don't want to get up. I'm like, thank you. So yeah, you gotta loop your strap. So now some people, when you do this, some of you might be like, ugh, no, I hate this. Don't ever make me do this again, right? And that's okay if you feel that way, right? You might be like, this feels a little too constrictive. But I'm gonna give us a couple different tools to think about how we can have our students access their breath. So we take it right at the rib cage. And if you're comfortable, get it snug. Thanks, Eden. Eden's just taking care of all of us. I love it. So once you have it snug, you want it a little snug. Sit up tall, take some big breaths, and try to breathe into the strap. So we talk about 360 breathing a lot. You maybe have heard this. Yes, this term. But like, do people often know what that is? Maybe not, right? They're like, what? Because most people breathe here, right? They breathe at the top portion of their lungs. They don't take full deep breaths. But when we can get into actually breathe with the full torso, the full like lobes of the lungs, right? We can get a little bit more oxygen into the bloodstream, right? Into the brain. How does this feel? How does this feel okay? So some of you might be like, if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to. But some people might be like, no, thanks. But for me personally, I like it because it makes me notice the side ribs and the back body, which I think sometimes get missed for people, right? Because they'll think like just everything in the front, and it's like, no, that breath goes all the way around. So this can be a tool you can use with someone who they're maybe having a hard time breathing. And I have a client that I've been working with almost 10 years now, and y'all, I do every trick in the book to get this woman to breathe because she just lives in such a state of sympathetic nervous system that it's like any tool we can to get her to take at least a couple breaths of like, can you just breathe deeply, right? You'll be amazed at how much people really aren't breathing. I mean, we're in like a pretty triggered state often. So can we get into the body a little bit more? Okay. So this is one tool. Is this feeling okay? Everyone to really breathe? What are we noticing? Anything?
I feel like this is a great tool, to feel diaphragmatic breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if it's a little lower, like of the attachment of the diaphragm, because when it was here, I tried just the regular, chest breathing,
Mm-hmm.
with my shoulders moving. And I find that a lot of people breathe that way,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel the expansion, but it's not the kind of expansion that I would be looking for. Like if I was trying to teach someone diaphragmatic breathing.
Oh yeah, you can.
Like I love this tool. I've never tried it before,
Mhm.
but I love this tool for lower the attachment. of the
Yeah.
diaphragm, like, wow, I feel the expansion.
Mhm. Yeah, it gives you can push it out a little.
If you just do the chest breathing, it will come in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. So here's one tool, right? One tool we can use. Another one can be to you can take this off unless you're like, I love this. I'm staying with this all day. I'm gonna live the rest of the day with this strap. Just kidding. Now just lie down like a fallen bridge position onto your backs. And then from here, working the breath. So you can do like a hand to belly, hand to heart kind of sensation. You can do a little 3-part breathing. But noticing here, like, how does this help you access the breath this way? Some people, this is a good tool to just lie on their back. They can really start to tap into their breath. You can encourage them to breathe into the back, so really push into the floor. That gives you an option. Okay, then from here, bring your knees in. Let's come on up and then coming into a crocodile position. So onto your belly. So you'll crisscross your arms, forehead relaxes onto the backs of the arms. You can have toes pointed or out to the side, whatever feels more comfortable for you. No, I always like to just alternate though. If I feel like I always do it one way, then I try to like change it up from time to time.
I just
Mhm.
thought there was like
No. No, you're good. And then from here, finding the breath, resting here on your belly. Can you access the breath differently this way? And some of you may find you prefer this way. Taking your time. Good. Take 2 more breaths. Good. And then let's press up. You can take a quick child's pose or tabletop, cow and cat if you need a little movement. So how did those feel for you today?
I like the on the belly for me personally, because I have a tendency to, when I breathe, even if I'm working my belly, I'll like hold my lay on my back, I'll hold my shoulders kind of up, just out of habit, I guess. So doing it this way where it's like I can't really.
You're like,
do
I
that,
can't. Yeah.
I can access more of like the belly
Uh-huh.
versus in the chest, whereas when I'm on my back, I kind of can cheat it with that like.
Kind of just still come forward. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So different tools, right? Different ways to get our students to find some breath, right? To like help them find the breath, right? And there's a million other ways I'm sure we can do this too, right? But just to give you some ideas, if you know if someone's really kind of struggling to find their breath or to feel what 360 breathing can look like, that's a good little tool that you can use. Okay. Um, and I will just say that like trust in the tool bag you already have as we work with students. I mean, I know I keep saying this, but it's one of those things that your instincts are going to come into play when you start working with people. Sometimes you'll be like dead on and you'll get it, and sometimes you'll be wrong, and that's okay, right? It's not like a perfect science. But you know, it's if you can get yourself grounded first, it's going to make all the world a difference when you sit down with your person to work with them. Okay. So let's look at that on that document there of it says where to start, I believe. Yeah, that in our the manual, it's like yeah, yeah. On the bottom here, it says protocol, where to start. So just keeping this kind of in mind when you're like putting things together for them, ground and clear. So that means yourself too. So like that walking that we did around the room. So say you're working with a bunch of people and it's like you had a heavy session with somebody. Like if you need a moment, take a moment, like walk around to clear yourself or chant om or whatever you need to do to help you kind of get grounded. And then for them too, like notice when they come into the session with you, how are they doing right off the bat? Do they need a little something? Do you need to have them walk around a little bit? How can you kind of ground and clear them first? Is it a little body scan? But like it says here, when in doubt, start with the breath, right? That's always, if we just like in our asana practice, same. When we're working with our clients, if we can get in with the breath, that's always going to be really helpful. Um, prioritizing imbalance when we're working with people, right? So pain is one thing we want to like kind of note and to just make sure people are comfortable working with that. Functional movements, which we're going to get into. We're going to talk joint freeing series. Then we'll get into asana stuff, relaxation and meditation, and always give them less than what you think they can do. It's like you just want to keep them wanting more. That's like a good place to start of like, and it's so hard, friends, you know, I know this, like for me personally, it's same thing when I'm working with somebody to be like, okay, let's just start with this, see how this works, and then come back to me and we can add more and later as we need to. Okay. All right. Any questions, thoughts so far? How are we doing? Are we doing okay on bathroom breaks? Do you need, I know have you been like, are you caffeinated and need to pee? Or are you okay? Doing all right? Okay. Just checking. Just checking. Okay, so we're gonna start here first from the ground up with one of my favorites. We're gonna work with the feet. So we have 26 bones in our lovely feet, and um they take kind of a pounding, right? We can be brutal with the feet, right? We jam them into shoes and then high heels, you know, all sorts of things. And they do a lot for us. And so this is kind of like the foundation of our house when we're looking at our feet. So we want to take really good care of them. So let's start first in seated and just sit up in a dandasana and just kind of point and flex the feet, wiggle the toes a little bit and just notice like, how are they doing? You don't have to judge how they look, right? You're like, I know I was like, oh no, I should have got a pedicure before this week. So I was like, oh boy. But just kind of notice anything you observe in them. And then from here, we're going to take one leg over the top, take your fingers, take this ring off, and interlace your fingers between your toes. So my friends at home, you're working them and try to really get them in there. Some of you are gonna love this. Some of you may be like, no. I love that look you just gave me, Trevor. And then from here, just start to kind of move your fingers around. And then you can make some circles with the ankle as well, going both directions. And kind of point and flex it and just keep moving those fingers around in there. And to me, this is the hurt so good kind of. And with your thumb, you can always massage the bottom of your foot too. Remember to breathe. How's this feeling? Good, nice. And then from here, let's kind of pull on each toe, like lengthen each toe out a little bit. Nice, good. And then let's extend the legs out. And then just notice, spread those toes. How do they look? How does it feel compared to the other one? The rosy? I know, right? Isn't it interesting how just a little bit of that, it's like, oh, some life, we got some life into it. Okay, let's do the other side now. I know, right? We're gonna do both sides. We'll even keep you nice and even. Okay, then again, we kind of wiggle those fingers around. Noticing the sensation might be different from one side to the next. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. I didn't take my allergy pills either today. Oh my God. It is. What is with today? Oh, tomorrow's Austin's birthday, by the way, everybody. So. I know. Well, I know. Well, he always sets out the pill. I forgot to take them. He sets them out for me. And I'm like,
Sure. We won't.
that's his job in the kitchen. Just to get the vitamins. No, it's not. He's all, don't cry. I'm all, don't you say it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You should have just burst into tears.
I know, I should have started crying. You would have been like, Okay, now let's pull on those toes out a little bit here. All right, oh, so good. Right, okay, and then let's extend that out, and then how does that feel? Isn't that nice? It's like, huh. But just noticing now how the rest of the body feels too. When we work with the feet, that's the thing too, is to notice like how do things kind of feel, okay? Okay, from here, now we're gonna work, I'm gonna pass out the tennis balls. We'll all stand up.
The tennis balls made me nauseous yesterday because they smell really bad. Oh, well, these are for you guys to keep, so they're new. I think that's probably why
That's
they're
probably
just, yeah,
why.
really strong.
Yeah,
Oh,
the negative.
The purple ones are intense.
Oh, are they?
I love the purple ones.
What do you want?
No, it's fine. No, 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 no. I was
Yeah,
talking about whatever. There's a lot of
switch?
purple. You know, it's like, well, pick it.
Oh, here. Yeah.
You're gonna hurt.
Oh,
You need a different color. There's a.
Nice color too.
Oh, I love.
Do you want a purple here?
No, no, thank you.
I'm like,
I like Pokemon.
but feel free, these are for you guys to keep, so you can have these. So just set that down first. And I want us to first, just in standing, to take your arms up overhead. Just kind of notice as arms go up and then bring them down. Just let your fingers touch a little bit and then come back down. Okay. All right, and all the things that we're doing today, by the way, are in your manual. So I tried to kind of type things up. You can follow along. You can always add more notes to it, but I tried to like be descriptive. So you're not just sitting there being like, what did we do? Then it's in there. But you can always ask me later if you're like, wait, what did we do? Okay, so we're gonna start here first with, we're gonna come into like a lunge stance. Now you probably want the ball on like a blanket or your mat, because if it's on the ground, it will shoot out very easily. It tends to go on a journey. So come into a bit of a lunge and bring the heel of one of your feet onto the ball. Okay, the back foot is planted. You're in like a nice, strong, stable stance, and then push down into the heel, into the ball. And this is where like you're not going like 100%. This is not where you're like, I gotta feel something. It doesn't need to be like that. You're just pushing down. Okay, pushing down a few times. Okay, and then slide it forward just in front of the heel. Keep your toes still on. Sideways. So I fall down. Breathe, remember to breathe. Okay, then move towards the arch. Oh, hello. Ooh, I love looking at your faces. Look at you all do this. Now, then we'll come kind of just in front of the arch, like the big toe mound-ish area, and just pushing straight down. Right, and then try to grip with the toes, pushing down again. So just that light pressure down. Good, and then release that from there. And then again, we'll come back to standing, and then inhale, take your arms back up overhead. What do you notice? You notice anything?
I feel uneven now.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, one side feels a little longer. So we're working the posterior chain when we work with the feet, which is just so cool. This is where I think when people think that yoga is magic, it's when you work with the feet. I feel like it's such a good tool for that with them. So now let's even you out on the other side. So let's review. Let's see if we remember. What did we do first? Heel. And this is where if you're doing this for one of your clients, to make sure people want to do this. They stand really close, and then this is an unstable stance. So make sure that they're in a nice stable stance. That they're breathing. Good, and just pushing straight down. Okay, then where do we go next? The front of the heel, right? Front, just in front of the heel. And again, keep the toes. So there's always some point of contact of the foot onto the mat or the ground. So it's not like sitting up here. You want to have that contact. And then where do we move? Arch, yep. This is where the heel might come down. And then again, like I've got to change my stance a little bit. Remember to keep breathing. And then come forward to the mound. And this is where you can do this with them too, right? If this is one of those, because this can be one of those things where, you know, you could always do that with them. But if you do, make sure you do both sides, because I've done this before where I only did one side for myself. And then my sacrum was like all wonky and just, I was like, right. That's what, yes. Like I know better, right? Keep it even. Then the toes. Okay, good. Nice. Release that. And then again, let's do arms up. Nice. How does that feel? Better? Yeah, right? Feels a little more even. Okay, now, so that was kind of working posterior chain, feeling side body. And now we're going to do a little hamstring assessment. So bring your hands to your hips, let your knees bend a little bit. Take a breath in. And then exhale, fold yourself forward. Your knees can bend and then let your hands relax down. And now from here, just kind of notice, just how's that feel? How the hamstrings feel, just how far forward you're folding. Okay, then bring your hands back to your hips. And let's come back up. Okay, now we're going to do another one with this one. So this one, it's going to start the same, where we bring the heel onto the ball. Well, what is that called? Ball. We'll press down. And then this time, now we kind of seesaw side to side. This is where the ball, right? It goes rogue. It can go a little rogue, right? So that little seesaw. Okay, I know it's chaos. No, it's not chaos day. And then taking it more forward and again, side to side. Are we noticing like one foot more intense than the other? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then again, finding that, and again, making sure this is the foot. Like, it's always a surprise. Yeah. It's like when I do heroes pose, I never know, will I like it today or will I need a bunch of blocks? And just keep rolling it forward, finding that side to side. So it's a press down and kind of side to side. Are we breathing? Okay, then let's change other side.
Curl, like in heroes pose, or when you're trying to sit on the tops of your feet. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm in like tabletop and like if when I tuck my toes and stuff,
Yeah.
I'll get like weird cramps every now and then.
I love it when my feet cramp up. Wow. Oh, it's just something that's enjoyable. Right?
It's just sensation. You feel something.
Yeah, it's nice. My husband's like, why do you keep cramping your calf like that? I'm like, because it feels good. This morning, and I was like, well.
Yes.
So, Lauren, if you get the toe cramps, do you find that something like this helps?
Yes. Yeah, when I am on my feet a lot, or if just whatever feet things, yes, trying to incorporate this in more, especially like cramping.
I don't know if it was like the shape of my toes or just someone was never gonna go away.
No, I would see how this works with the ball. And this could be something you could do like before, when you come to class, roll your feet out right before class. Because now just kind of walk in place a second here. Then stand here. Let's do hands to hips again. Breathe in. And then come now into your forward fold. And arms can come down. Now, how'd that feel? Any different?
It kind of feels the same, but I think it's because I've like something blocking me from
Oh.
going farther down.
Well, how does it feel on the backs of the legs? Like a little more open? Yeah. Yeah, so this is where, like, this is a really nice tool, I think, that for people that, especially if they're like, I'm tight or they're having a hard time connecting to like their back bodies, this can help to start to open some of that stuff up for people. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Amber, by the way, if you have not many people have these lineups, but a lacrosse ball, you can put it in the freezer for a couple minutes and then like roll your foot out and it comes like.
Yeah, I have like the yoga round and like the double round for your spine, so.
I love, yeah, the yoga tune-up balls are really great. But I would be very careful on doing like the golf and the lacrosse ones because they have studied that it's softer is better. So more pain is not, sometimes we think like, we're like, pain, give it to me. And it's like, no, actually that for your nervous system and for things to relax, you need it to be a little bit softer, sort of a thing. Yeah.
Question
Yeah.
about Sawtooth boards. So they're the needles.
Oh, I think I know.
What's your, do you have experience or not with any thoughts
Oh,
on that when you stand on like the board of needles?
oh yeah, like the nails kind of
Yes,
thing.
the-
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that like once. I don't have much experience with them. I do have like a acupressure pad that's got little plastic that I really love for my back. Like if I've got anything going on with my back or even like chest and shoulders, it's got like a pillow that's got the spikies in it too. And I love it for me personally. But yeah, I mean, I think that stuff's nice. Yeah. For me, I don't know. I mean, could be placebo, but I like it. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, if it works, placebo works, right?
When I
Placebo.
stood on like a Prana mat, like that's what they're called, or that's what the brand, it's, yeah, Prana mat, but they have those like little prongs. They're sharp as hell, but if you, I've noticed when I stand on it, 'cause I have a lot of like feet in arthritis and all that jazz. When I stand on it, it takes maybe a minute to adjust, and then I'm like full blown sweating, like top of.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah, it gets you
Yeah.
present like nobody's
Yeah,
business.
it's wild. But then afterwards, I'm like, oh. Look at me go, I'm still going a mile. I couldn't.
Yeah.
do it.
Do you use them or?
I have had one experience standing on the nail board with like the metal
Mhm.
nails for, I think it was 40 minutes and I felt extremely tired. It was during a retreat and I just couldn't do anything. I had to go to sleep because I was passing out
Yeah.
basically. And then I did buy a Sawtooth board. I can maybe bring it in July so you guys can take a look at it. But I was just thinking like, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
there's so many tools, right? I say why not if it works. Like if you like it, use it. But if you're like, don't make yourself.
Like, don't stand on nails if you don't want-
Yeah, if you're like, this
very
is not,
painful.
yeah,
This was a necessary buy for me.
yeah, right. And that happens, right? That's fair. Let's see.
I'll bring it in July for sure. SADHU. And thank you. Sawtooth board. And then board.
Okay, how many of us are there today? 3?
Yep, that's it.
We're even number. Oh, we're even number today. Amazing. Okay. I want us to just to kind of get us in the mindset of like paying attention to bodies, noticing breath a little bit. I want us to we're gonna partner up And I want you to do, one of you do like a couple rounds of sun A or a sun B, kind of just something. And then you, the person who's not doing it, just watch them. Just kind of notice like how is their breath? How's balance? Just anything you kind of notice from the practice. You're not really critiquing like their pose or anything at this point. You don't need to worry about that, but just kind of like, are they kind of like feeling like when you're watching them of like, oh yeah, you're pretty even, you feel pretty steady, or do you notice you hold your breath or or like, oh wow, you take good deep breaths sort of thing. But just to kind of get us in the mind of doing something that we're all comfortable, right? We all know sun salutations. So let's just take a couple minutes to do that. Okay.
Are we
So-
tuning them?
no, let them, you'll just watch, you just watch them. So basically you get to free form whatever you want. So you could do a sun A, a sun B, whatever, just something that has you kind of moving with your breath just a little bit. Okay. Okay. Are you okay to move at all or do you? Okay, great. Okay, cool. You can just, whoever partner, or we got, I think we got, yeah.
I know that I am uneven, so.
This is my move. Alright, wonderful flow. Thank you. I'll try.
Unless you're.
That's what we're doing next month when I forgot. Oh, excited. I need to make sure I'm in your room. Creaky.
Do whatever.
Are you? It's like your breath is from very quiet, but it's like a, but you can tell you're breathing through your feet. It's like it's all the way up. Yeah, I just tell it.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I just noticed that when you were like,
I was trying
but
to
that also
see
could
if I
be
could
like,
notice any like
if just
differences.
started moving and noticing your neck. But I just didn't notice that.
But
you
yeah, you look,
Move.
you looked good.
And it's like really like kind of gets this.
It wasn't like.
So I wonder if you hold your breath.
And you were able to flow very nicely.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
Totally. Maybe it's just something I noticed.
Hold my
Like,
breath as
see
I
if
go
you
through
can
my look like, a break.
flow with the
Oh,
breath
yeah.
first, or
Well,
at
that's why
least
it's
the breath
hard, cause I can't,
as
your
you-
breath is quiet, so I'm like, I can't hear
If
until
that
you
feels
start to
good.
come up here. Yeah. And then I can hear, but then when you're down and your mouth is not facing, it's facing away from me, I can't hear your breath. But yeah, it was like.
Fair.
It means
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not like.
Right?
Just in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Specialized. I know. I know. And then now I have this with the convention day. Summer day.
Yeah.
Yeah. At some point be able to float to the top and not flying over it.
Yes.
Just, I didn't see the hyperlink.
We've had people, with that, not to why as something else that you had worked with.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Information, working on.
Yeah. It like anywhere. But a bilingual therapist is like one of the ones that so I'm a yes, but also a lot of diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yes, whenever I feel like kind of work.
Ooh, what did you just do there? I gotta see that. Let me see that. God, I love that. Okay, here, you better show it for home so that when they're watching this, they're like, what just happened? I need them to.
I'll still go, even if I like props, get embarrassed or even.
Step through. What a fun way to do that. I love it. I always love the props. Oh, that's a good one.
I think it's good.
That's a good. I might teach that tonight, Amber. Because I don't know what I'm teaching tonight yet. So like. Yeah. Okay, I gotta try it.
Well, it's not my back, it's my shoulders, so. I love it.
New trick. Amber was just doing that and I was like, wait, what are you doing? That's such a fun way. So if you're teaching dancer and you want to use the strap, so you step on it, cross it, then the other leg steps through, and then you go. Isn't that so fun? Yes. Because normally I just make like a little a lasso, and I go like this. But yeah, I love that.
I love this. I'm standing on the shoulders. Yeah.
I love that this just turned into something else, but hey, no, I love it. It's so good. No, both, same. Yeah. I mean, if you're working on that, yeah. Okay, great job, everyone. Okay. How'd that go? Went great.
Right, I know, I was gonna tell her that. Did you step through? That, is it?
Oh, maybe.
Right here. And you're not.
Oh. Okay, so really I want us to do that for our observational skills, to just start to kind of tune into that, because we're going to really dive into this next with some posture assessment. So before we do that, I feel let's take a little bathroom break, I think, is right. How's that sound? Yeah, and because then we'll dive back into like that. Okay, so let's take, I don't know, Okay,
I
are we all, wait, Peg's gone now. Every time we come back, there's always someone. Where'd Peg go? Where's Peggy? Peggy, there she is. Okay. Okay, how are we doing? Doing okay? Everybody feeling all right? Yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna dive into next, we're gonna talk a little bit about, I want to talk about holding space, what that looks like, and then we're gonna get into kind of posture assessments and what that looks like. Um, so holding space. What do we know about holding space? Do we know, have you heard this term before? Let's start there. Yes. Okay. Do we know what it is?
Active listening.
Active listening,
Creating a safe place for people to say what they need to say.
Yeah.
Calming energy.
Yeah. And I think as yoga teachers, you probably know this. You're doing it when you teach already. It's just sort of a thing. Sometimes you don't even notice, but hopefully that's kind of that happens. And especially when we work one-on-one with people. This is why I said it's going to seem like a lot of Anamaya Kosha, but you're going to be surprised at when we start looking at even different shoulder things with people, that there's a lot deeper things going on than just like a physical component. So what we'll do now is, if you look in your manual on, let's see. Everything's so hard today on the computer. Um, if you go to where it's the picture of like a body like this, scroll down a couple pages from where you were, it'll say anterior view. You'll see that? Yeah, okay. So we're gonna look at that. That's the component. So what we're gonna do is we are going to partner up but first we're gonna go through, we're gonna trial run this through. I'm gonna kind of show you what this looks like. We'll go through this and things that we're gonna notice when we are working with clients to just do kind of a postural assessment when you're working with them, okay? So what I will say about this is please don't panic. Because the first time when I was learning this, I was like, kind of terrified that I was like, I don't know. I kind of had a little panic. Like, I don't know anything, I know nothing. What is this? It was really, I definitely had a lot of anxiety about it at first. But something happened where I was like, okay, well, here we go. I'm in a training, so this is what we're doing. The person that I worked with, I kept getting like this ping. So I was like going through the checklist of like, okay, we're doing this, but I kept like noticing something and I was like, I don't know. It was that like this little message, my intuition kept pinging and I'm like, what is going on? And then finally, when we sat down to like talk about like, here's kind of what I noticed. And then I said to her, I go, and I just keep feeling like this here at your like chest, your heart just feels really like, so, and she did not like stand like that. It wasn't someone who was in that obvious, like, this position. It was, but I just kept feeling like this pull. It's like, I was like, I don't know if I'm just like way off base with this, but is this anything? And then she's like, my son died 2 years ago. So it was like, yes, it was that thing, although very tragic, that reminder, like you are going to pick up on the things of people that you're going to be surprised. So when you get those little like intuitive things, you can ask, or you can maybe store that away for later. It's one of those things to just, you got to trust your instincts when you're working with people, especially you're already so empathic, you're in this line of work as it is. So being open to that, if you get a little message that may come towards you, don't run away from it. Don't be scared of it. But listen to that. Yeah. Has anyone had anything like that ever working? Yeah, Eden. Just like working with someone.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure. If you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, and just similar things where it wasn't really working with somebody, it was just in noticing, like walking into, I think it was Austin's class, and there was somebody who was just kind of, I don't know, I just kept getting this like, you need to go over and just introduce yourself, and check in. I've never met this person before. And I went over and I just said, hey, like, I just wanted to come and say hi and like, I'm glad you're in class today. And they just like broke down crying. They had just like lost, I can't remember who it was, but somebody like 2 days before, and they were coming to yoga to try and like whatever, and they were just feeling really isolated. And so they gave me a big hug and they're like, thanks so much. And then I saw them in class.
No,
Just little things.
yeah,
You're
Yeah.
super intuitive with that, cause I gotta say, like, my first couple months here when I felt like an imposter, and you would just like text me and just be like, hey, like, how are you? It was super helpful.
yeah. And so practice that that's a skill that like you may not even realize you have, but it's gonna come in handy when you're working one-on-one with someone. Yeah. But this also, on the flip side, this isn't like a diagnosis tool either. You're not gonna be like, I think you're clinically depressed. I mean, unless you have the like credentials to say that about somebody, like you're not gonna be diagnosing anyone with anything with your like, I'm seeing sensing this. Like we don't know, like that's not what we're doing, but we're just hyper aware of like maybe what emotionally, what other kind of, this is where the coaches who can start to come into play. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to look at is, let's see, I'm going to have, just want to look at here. Okay. I just needed to refresh my brain of that document. We're going to get close. We're going to come around the computer so that our friends at home, when they watch this later, can see. We're gonna all come in, we're gonna be standing around, and I'm gonna ask if someone would be a volunteer. Does anybody want to be a guinea pig? Okay, great. Here. Okay. No, you don't, you're just standing, you're literally just gonna stand. Okay, so what I often do when I work with someone is I ask them to just walk around like what you've done already, so just take a little walk. And then I'm gonna have you come eventually walk, so you're kind of standing here to face the computer so that they can see you at home. Great, and then have your pants are not gonna do so, but that's okay. Your clients will do this too. So now you all are gonna get up, because we're gonna come around and we're gonna do a little assessment here of just kind of checking in. We're gonna start from the ground up. Do you mind if I touch you? Okay, great.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's always good to ask, right? To clarify.
I was
of,
gonna
like-
say knees.
Perfect, yeah. So, and this is where we'll kind of look first. So I will start to I will get down here. So I'll just kind of notice. So what I noticed first, just looking at Sierra's like looking at the arches a little bit, right? Seeing this guy's a little bit collapsed, and that the feet, and nothing wrong with that, right? And so, but just kind of noticing, this foot turns out just a little bit. You all see that? I'm noticing that a little bit. Just a little, it's not like a perfect, perfect, sorry, I don't mean like perfect. We're not aiming towards that, but just noticing right, we all have when I stand on my own, like if you all stopped right now and looked at your stance, how would it be? Right? You're like, yeah.
Well, we're not perfectly symmetrical is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but we all have our patterns that we kind of rest in. So that's why I often have people walk first, just walk and then come to this neutral position. Okay. And so then from here, then taking a look at looking at Sierra's knees, they seem to be kind of forward, but what I am noticing, I feel like is a little hyperextension in the backs of the knees. You all see that? Do you feel that? Do you know that you hyperextend?
I do.
Okay.
I've actually been told by a physical therapist to stop that.
Okay. Well, we're gonna work on that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, great, good, perfect. Okay, so taking a look at that, and then you can relax that down. And then if you will touch your ASIS points here, these little points here. Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of notice. You can let that go then. So when I see this, I see her left hip is sitting up just a little bit higher. So if you guys want to come around here to see. You see that where my thumbs are? This one's just up a little higher.
Is that her pants?
No,
She's on the bone.
it's the bone. We got the bone here. Don't worry, most people
Yeah.
are have this going on. Okay, perfect. Great. And now just stay where you are, everybody. And then here, I'll scoot over just a little so they can see. And then just standing tall here, good. Yeah, and then looking at just symmetry and the turn. There we go. Yeah, this shoulder seems up a little. Yes? We notice just a little bit of elevation, just a little bit. Mhm. Okay, great. And then if we come to the side, looking at neck, right? So like, she's pretty good, I would say, looking, there's not too much like forward neck. There's a little bit, but nothing too gradual, nothing too like extreme with that, okay? Then we'll come back behind and looking here again, right? You can just kind of look here at the heels a little bit of just like looking at the arches. Just kind of getting that awareness. And then I'm gonna have your sacrum here. Okay. So see here. That's pretty even. This is a little higher, right? Just a smidge, right? When we look here, this is the PSIS. So we've got the hip bones here, right? You can all feel these on yourself. So you find the front, and then if you come around back, like right along there where the sacrum is, this is like an interesting tool to just start to notice with people's like sacrum, hips, and pelvis. Okay, great. Then just kind of looking here and more developed on this shoulder. Yeah, right? Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed, but also when I deadlift, I do alternate grip,
Mm-hmm.
and this side always works more rear delt, this side always works more lat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You can see that, right? You can definitely see, right? There's just nothing wrong, right? All of us have kind of usually something along those lines. Okay, great. And then I'm going to have you, if you don't mind, come to a forward fold. All the way forward fold. And then I'm just gonna kind of go down the spine and this is like, I'm not like assessing for scoliosis, but you're just noticing, like, is there anything with the spine or the shoulder blades with that? And I don't see anything really, nothing too like critical going on, that nothing of like imbalance. Okay, then you can come back up from there. Nice, good. And then just kind of shake that off a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so when you do this, you have options. You can, when I work with someone, sometimes I jot down notes. Sometimes I just kind of tell them as I'm going, like, here's sort of what I'm observing. You do whatever you feel comfortable with, right? But I would at first, like you've got like a detailed way that you can kind of write it down. And now we're gonna use the block, and we're all gonna kind of use it, but we're gonna have Sarah be like our example here with this. So with that hyperextension, this block, and place it high between your upper and your thighs. Okay. And then work your feet parallel to one another. Good. Now, what I want you to do is just squeeze this like nobody's business. And then I want you to kind of push into me with your shins. So you push and then breathe. And then I want you to think about your ASIS is going back a little bit. So think of them going back just a little, push into me, squeeze that block, keep breathing, lift your chest. Breathe. You're feeling your quadriceps engaged. Good. Breathe, steady breaths. Draw your tailbone in just a little bit. Good, chest lifts. And lengthen all the way from your feet to the crown. There we go. But don't block that out. Push into me more. Breathe. Do you see the difference happening? How does that feel for you?
Good.
Does it feel like you're in a squat? Like you're in
Yeah,
Utkatasana?
I feel like I'm definitely taking a seat.
Yeah.
Like,
Did it look like she was taking a seat? No, right? And that's what is for all of us who tend to hyperextend. If we sit in that hyperextension, when you ask them to do this, it feels like you're in Utkatasana. So let's all grab a block and let's just try that first for ourselves and just see how that feels. Great.
I like that. It's better than when my physical therapist does.
Can I ask you, so if she did have scoliosis in some form, how would that show up on her back? Would it be this?
I have
big or
scoliosis if you want to see.
Yeah, I had it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, hang on.
I have it too. I don't know.
And before you do anything, Anna, hang on. So the other, I said, before you do anything, Anna, come over here. So noticing people's clothing too, before you even start, is how do their clothes kind of sit? Because if people have stuff, sometimes you'll see shirts will kind of hike up a little. See how it just kind of hikes up a little bit? That can also be an indicator of like some kind of imbalance that might be
Show me
happening.
how that's hiking.
See how it's kind of, this is all just kind of up a little bit.
Does mine
It's
do
not
it?
just,
I
yeah.
I mean, my back is so
But this
jacked,
is also
but
my job.
definitely that's two
Okay, it's
different
not
things.
Jack, let's change the language.
Well,
Jack can be-
I messed up my shoulder and then I did yoga a lot and I was, what do you call that? Compensating.
Uh-huh.
So one side now is totally bigger than the other,
Yeah.
but also the scoliosis. so.
Yes, okay, let's, if you want to show scoliosis, well, I mean, or either.
I don't know how much you're gonna
I
be
don't
able
know
to
if you can
because
see
of
it in
that,
the
but
shirt, yeah.
yeah, you can see it. a
Can you
little.
guys see it?
Sometimes if you, so if you
Oh, I
forward
see
fold,
yours
Anna,
right
you
in
might
front
be
of
able
me.
to, sometimes
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
see
oh, wow.
Yeah, oh, wow, I
a little
know.
curve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And let's see Peggy.
You're
look at
usually
Peggy.
gonna see one shoulder higher than the other on the side of scoliosis.
Yep.
So do you wanna look at it
Okay.
this way?
Oh,
or do you
yeah,
wanna-
yeah, yeah, Peggy, definitely. Mhm.
Oh, right.
Peggy, here, squat down, Peggy, so at home,
Oh, I see.
there we go, so they can kind of see
Yes,
that a
yeah,
little bit.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. No, it doesn't bother me. Never did it. I mean, I think I was supposed to do stuff as a child, but I just, you know.
Well, I didn't.
And now I'm no longer a child.
So, only asymmetrical.
So one thing you can do for those with scoliosis, or if you do work with someone who does have, definitely you have.
Oh, sorry.
Is, things that are more asymmetrical to help them. So like side planks are gonna be really great to help them strengthen and lengthen that side that is more curved in, so that they're spending a little bit more time strengthening and lengthening that side of the body. And even things like you're doing like a one arm, like a pyramid flow, like something like this, or doing like locusts with opposite arm to like play around with that to really strengthen and lengthen the different sides of the body. So you can really address those areas, and spend a little bit more time on the side that maybe needs a little extra love, a little extra attention. Yeah,
When you're assessing larger bodied people and you don't want to get all up in there, like, cause I know, I don't care anymore,
Mhm.
but like, a lot of people are like, don't look at my stomach, don't be
that's
near
why
my
I have,
stomach.
that's
so-
why people touch. I say, can you find I show them on me, I say, okay, can you find this?
Uh-huh.
You know, find your hip bones,
So it's just like, can you do it? And I will look.
and then you go in and touch where they pointed to.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if they don't want it to be touched, you just have them do it and say, okay, hold that too, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, let's try with the block, and see with the legs here for hyperextension, how we're doing. Is there anyone who doesn't hyperextend?
Think I-
Because
I feel like I do,
Yoga teachers.
but I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I do.
I don't think that I do my legs, but you'll be the judge of that.
I don't think I do at all, but.
Take the block out. And then can you,
Like, that's as far as I can go.
okay, I feel like this side is a little bit. You're right,
Maybe
a
it's just
little, there's a little.
Hyperextension, she
More
says.
hyperextension.
Just a little smidge. Interesting.
I'm a little bit jealous of your not hyperextending because I'm always like,
You don't, I don't think you are.
One and
That's
all.
great, good for you.
Lots of-
Good for you.
Maybe you said it. I mean, I do, it's one, right, like here's, right, which translates to, what does this translate to when we hyperextend?
low back,
Can be low back pain. Where else are we gonna see this? Obviously Tadasana, but then where else?
Oh, the warrior dance for sure. Cause that's the adjustment I get most people, like teachers always like, can you bend that back knee? Like in the feet.
Forward fold. Forward fold.
Triangle.
Triangle all day, all long. Yes. Yes. So with that one, here's a good little assist you can start to incorporate into your class for those who hyperextend. So if they come into it, well, here, Anna, I'm gonna have you do it if you don't mind. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so come into triangle. You can just hyperextend to within safety for yourself. Okay, you come up to them and you say push, 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 push. And I am pushing her, I'm like making her resist. Breathe, push, just engage, good, push, push, push here, But this right here alone can help someone that's working hyperextension. How'd that feel?
Yeah.
Right, it's that same thing that I did with Sierra when she was standing there. I said, I was at the shin, so you push at the shin, you have them resist, and that alone will in turn make them bend just a little bit. And you can do it to yourself, right? You can be in triangle and you can reach down and be like, okay, I'm gonna push into my own leg to resist into that a little. Yeah, like Eden, you definitely hyperextend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere, all the time. Every joint.
I know, right? We all have our things, and the reason I like to focus on this a little bit is because you all are doing it, which means your students are probably gonna be doing it. So not, some of you who don't, lucky you. You just gotta be on the lookout for your students, especially if they're like, my knee's hurting or my, like, if people are having some weird pains, oftentimes, like, especially if they say like my shoulder or wrist hurts, I often say stick your arm out, because if they hyperextend, yeah, like that. Then I take a look at their tabletop, their plank, their chaturanga, and we look at that, because what's often happening is there's a lot of hyperextension happening in those poses, and that repetition on those joints can start to hurt. And so same thing starts to happen. Did we go over this already? Can't remember.
200 for sure.
A little on 200. Do we need to review? Or you feel okay? Okay.
Knees and elbows.
Yeah, it's like knees and elbows, right? That we look at all the major joints of like, okay, there's some hypermobility. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just is, right? We don't need to place like better or worse. It just gives us more information. Okay, so how was it with the block? Did we get to try that? Did we do that? The block between the legs.
Do that again.
Yeah, so squeeze the block, shoot it back behind you. Bend your knees a little bit. So think of your shins like you're running into a coffee table. Like say you were walking, you're like, oh, right? Like that kind of sensation you're trying to create, right? And then draw your tailbone in so that you're not sticking your bum out too much. And then from there, stack the joints, right? So you've got a little bit of bend in the knees, but you're hugging in. So you're creating that engagement in the lower half of the body. I know, it's harder, isn't it? It's like, wait a second, I don't want to work this hard.
Feels so much better.
What I will say, yay, I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna give you an example of someone who, I worked with someone a few years ago who hyper mobile, like ridiculous, like always. And I'm like, use the ball, like trying constantly to be like, squeeze your feet in, like engage. That was like ad nauseum, engage. And then she got pregnant again. And then she hadn't been coming to yoga, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, my body, I didn't listen to you. And now I have to go to PT and they're making me engage, because she had all that extra elastin like going through her body. And when you're not engaging, it just makes it worse. So if you have someone who's hypermobile, if you, any way you can to get them to really like find some engagement and not be resting on the joint, is just going to help for that long-term joint health for them. Okay, great. How'd that feel? Feel good?
It's funny, even when you said that though, it was like easy to go back to like
So
jumping in the
easy.
jump, like while you were saying it. I was like,
You're all,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I do it too. I have to constantly be like, or just to not
Yeah.
stand like this, like we all have those little things, and we're just trying to swing towards some steadiness and some ease as best that we can.
Yeah.
But it takes time, it takes practice, and that reminder, that repetition, just doing it over and over and over again. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I want you to find a partner. It can be the same person you just worked, doesn't really matter. And we're going to go through what we just did, that assessment. And so you have that document in there you can use as kind of a reference point of like, okay, we're going to look at the feet. We're going to look at like the legs, like what do we notice in legs, knees, hips, shoulders, neck, and then the back body. Same kind of working our way of just like, what do we notice? And I'd start it again with like, have them walk around first a little bit, just like walk, and then come to standing, and then go from there. Okay? Are we all okay? Everybody feeling okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Have fun.
Do you want to? I'll walk around.
This back up. Okay, how was that? Interesting.
Fascinating.
I know. Sorry, friends. Now you're gonna be at the grocery store and like you'll be like,
I feel better after doing it since 2018. So I do it. I'm standing in the grocery store. I'm like, what? You for a line of work.
uh-huh.
Stand like
I
this.
know, right? You're gonna now, everyone you see, you'll be like, interesting. But you know, it's good data, right? It's data and it doesn't, we just need to be really mindful, like with our people, that it's not about good or bad. So we correct that language. If anyone starts saying, if they start going, here's my bad hip, because people will say, here's my problem side, or here's my bad hip, or I'm all jacked up, or this is my messed up. Like to get people to reframe some of that language around that of like, let's change that story a little bit, right? Yeah, right.
Fun side.
Yeah, or you got my favorite side, you know, like whatever but exactly. But to change the story, change that narrative a little bit. Hi, Hannah. Hannah was doing this last year with us.
You want to come back after it ends. I don't know why I stopped right there.
You're fine. We're just
It
chatting.
ends too soon, basically.
I know. I saw you and I'm like, oh yeah, you did this last year. That was a year ago. Let's see. Any questions? Anything kind of pop up for you? Questions? Yes. Steph.
So, I have my intake for my physical person.
Mhm.
And when she comes in, I do all this assessment.
Yeah.
First,
Mhm.
even though we know the things that they have a problem with.
Yes, because when you meet with them, it's a whole different, they may tell whatever they say on paper is still not going to be exactly what you will see with them. Maybe. I mean, it might be, but I still would start with this assessment with them first.
So you encourage them to come in clothing that is kind of appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would say, right. Say come dressed in like yoga clothes or something with them so that you can do some movement for sure. Yeah. But this is going to help one, also when you meet with them, and I think you hopefully all did this before, but like go over that form, their intake form, like check in, like tell me more about this because, and I don't know if this happened when you worked with them, but they were like, oh yeah, and then they told you about 3 other things that they didn't write down. Did that happen to anybody else? Yeah, right, where that's usually the case. And then it's like, oh, we need to kind of shift gears. We need to kind of move in this direction. And then when you actually see them and like see their body, see kind of some postural things happening, that might change a little bit of like what you're doing. You might need to kind of ebb and flow a little with that as well. And then some of the stuff too, you might notice, you might be like, don't be like, oh my God, like your shoulder, it's all jacked up. No, just but you can ask them and some people will be like, oh yeah, this, and they might be like, I don't know, there's no pain. I just, people might not have any pain. It might be a non-issue. It might be something they've learned to deal with, and that's okay too. Okay. What else? Any other questions or observations?
Is it important to like take into account where people carry their weight? Like, I don't want to like trigger anybody, but like different body shapes, like the upside down triangle or hourglass or whatever. Is that important information to have as you analyze what you're gonna do with that?
I mean, I don't really think about that when I mean, I really am looking structurally, like at the bones and muscles and what's going on, you know? Um, it's not really, I mean, if there is like more weight or something, it's kind of like, how are your joints? Are they doing okay? Sometimes that can just be extra pressure, but I don't know. I don't feel like that. I haven't noticed that be like kind of one way or another.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if it was like, people who have this kind of body type, like they tend to have an anterior tilt or whatever. I don't know if there's like classifications.
I haven't noticed that with anyone. I mean, it's different athletes have different kind of typical injuries and that kind of stuff, but depending on what people do in their lives outside of the time with you is definitely going to impact what they do. Yeah.
And so you're assessing this and you say your shoulders a little this, but and then they start going into a story
Mhm.
about how long it's been there and what they've done, and suddenly the story becomes like this epic.
Yeah.
Do you have magic words to wind it down, to say, I got that, that's amazing, you know, but how much does that influence the one-on-one, and how much does it influence their problem?
Yeah. The story for sure. People can get stuck in their story. So, yeah, it is definitely where you have to kind of pause people to be like, okay, let's pause for a second. And that's where you maybe say, here's what I'm hearing. Like you say back to them what you're hearing and and say like, okay, well, is this something you would like to address? Like you can just point blank ask them and just say, there's a lot of charge going on around this, your shoulder. So how, yes. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I've done intake forms where they will say like, what's bothering you right now? And then they work backwards, like what bothered you? Like just
Mhm.
kind of get the full story, but get the gist of like right now the issues right.
But you still, I swear, you can say that, but until you're in the room with the person, then they might be like, oh yeah, and this happened. I know I do this too. Like when I go see someone for like body work or whatever, I'll like write something down and then I get in there and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to say these 3 things to you, right? It's just like that could start to happen. Yes.
I think that like when we take an intake form, I don't know, sometimes people put things down that they want or think that you might want to hear, or like might want to shape their yoga destiny.
Yeah.
somehow. So I think sometimes that just.
Yes. And like writing isn't always everyone's strong suit of like communication too, right? That may be not their preferred method. They might be more verbal processors. So,
I was actually, one of the tricks that I use is I'm a corrective exercise specialist and a personal trainer.
Mhm.
I do a lot of one-on-one intakes. I have them talk while I do the assessment. And that's only if you can multitask and you know what you're looking for.
Mhm.
But that way, one, if they want to tell me a story and I can see it in their body, it doesn't eat up a ton of extra time. But it also lends to the point where if they're stuff talking about their shoulder, but I've moved on to their hips, I can be like, hey, have you noticed anything in your hips? Even if there's nothing, you just change the subject. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to direct that conversation
Yeah.
to where you're at versus, hey, this time 2 years ago, I got blown up, fell off the 7-ton, and then a cat ran across my chest, and I didn't know what happened. So you never know what you're gonna get. That's never personally. I fell off the 7-ton and had a cat run across my chest, but I've never been blown up. So.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, people go there, they get very into their stories. And so it's best that you can to kind of shift the conversation after a while. And sometimes you let people, sometimes that's just the story that they're in. And it depends on how comfortable you are with like, sometimes depending on how well you know the person, but saying like, hey, I'm really noticing a lot of story about this. And like, how does that feel? Like if you want to be not confrontational, but a little like you can push back on people too. I have a client I work with, I've known forever, and she'll be telling me some things and I'm like, well, how's that working out for you? Like, I'll just say it. Like, is that maybe we could try something different? And she'll like give me a dirty look and but she knows that it's all from love and it's all to like, I'm like, that's why you hired me. Right? Like I'm here to see some of this stuff and help you through some of this stuff. Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. How do we feel our tool bag is doing? Filling it up, we're getting some things, right? Or some things kind of coming together. Are we feeling a little more confident after doing that? Did we seeing like, oh, I can see some things, right? I'm kind of noticing some different things. And you use that tool as you want to, but it can be really helpful when you're working with people, especially on that physical component. Okay, let's see, it's noon. I'm just wondering, do we want to do one more activity? Or how do we feel? Do you need lunch? How are you all feeling? Where we could pause for lunch? Or we could do a little bit more? Where is everybody?
How much time do we have for lunch?
We have an hour for lunch.
Else cares. I think my energy will be better now than
Yeah.
after lunch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, you sure can. 100%. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna work. We'll do when Alexis comes back, we'll do one more activity. And we're doing good on timing, so that's where I'm like, yeah, we are. I love it. You all are getting through this nicely. Okay. How are we feeling? Are you tired? Yes.
Feeling better today, but like yesterday, I could not keep my eyes open, and today I don't know if it's moving, I don't know if it's talking,
Mhm.
I don't know if this is something I'm really comfortable with, but like, I am much more awake.
More awake.
Yesterday was a lot of like academic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for me. Yesterday I had a huge lunch, so
Oh.
I was really early.
Oh, yeah.
I also lost the road.
I walked to.
It sounds like a short walk.
No, it's pretty, it's like a. Yeah.
It was hot.
It was, yeah.
I mean, yesterday it's just hot. So I saw you guys were flipping through that. So when you're working with someone, Steph, will you turn a couple more pages? There's one where it's like all of them on one page.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one there you can use like when you actually meet with somebody. So you can just, if you want, you can use that as kind of your reference point instead of like having a page for each one. We have it the other way just so you started to get into that habit of that you can see like, okay, when you're working the front, this is what you look at when you do side, when you do back. But that's like the short condensed version of it. Be a little bit easier. Okay.
Do they see this?
You can show, if you want to, you can show them. I mean, I always say, I'm gonna take some notes and, if you're someone who wants to take some notes, like the way I do it now, it's literally like, I'll put a little star on like a knee or like I draw some arrows, it's like quick little shorthand that I have for myself. So it may not mean anything to them if they were to see it. And then from there, then I tell them what I see from that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, what we're gonna work on next is, we're gonna work at the sacroiliac joint, it's called an SI stabilizer, because did we all find how was our pelvis? Was everybody like perfectly even? No, I know, darn it, right? I know, it's one of those things. So this is a tool, it's one of my favorite tools that I will use when I'm working with someone who's got kind of SI things. I don't even know how it happened, but my SI went out recently and had to do a PT. It just, yeah, it was real bad. So I had a PT friend that worked on me for like 4 days in a row, and I was doing all this stuff. It was, it was rough. I know, it was not good. It was high stress time. I'm pretty sure that was really what it all stemmed from. But so I want you to think about what did you all notice from that? And we're going to go through a little assessment tool that can kind of help reset the sacrum kind of back and the pelvis back into a nice neutral position. Okay. So what we'll do is, and this is written in your manual for you too, it's in there. So you don't have to write it down, is we're going to come into like a Z position here with the legs. And now some of you, as you do this, you may want to sit on a block underneath a hip if you're like, oh, if it's rough, or you can always do this seated in a chair as well. Okay, so that's always an option if this is too painful to be this way. Okay, so we're gonna work here. So we all have our position. Then bring your hands onto your hips and sit up nice and tall. Okay, and then we're gonna, as you inhale, looking for an anterior pelvic tilt. So you're tilting the hip bones forward. And then you exhale, tuck under, but keep your chest lifted. So inhale, come forward, exhale, tuck. Okay, so breathing in and out. Are you feeling some things? This is where, and I like to have them, you keep their hands on their hips to really know this is where we want the movement to generate. How's this feeling? It's like, I know, it can be a little ouchy. I know, I always have one side that's like, oh, hello. It's gonna be your favorite side. It's gonna be your favorite side.
So like not to project, but the place you're most likely feeling it is the SI, like that's your SI joint.
SI joint is back here.
Okay.
This is the little butterfly shape here, but yes, you probably are feeling this here in the hip, like in that the hip flexor. So as
flexor.
uh-huh. Yep. Okay, so we do this around 6 to 12 times or so. Okay, so we're here. Then we're gonna work this leg here. So this leg that's in this position, so they can see at home. I want you to grab the leg. You're like, grab the meat of that leg there. And as you inhale, find an internal rotation. And as you exhale, roll it back and actually use it, like get in the hip joint. It may not feel very good. And exhale. Okay, inhale, roll it in. Exhale, roll out. So this is like some good pressure that we're working with here as you do this. And remember to breathe. So really trying to find that Ujjayi breath. One more time. Good. Now swivel the legs around. We'll do the other side. Okay, hands to hips. Okay, and what do we do? Do you remember? Well, this is anterior, coming forward, and then posterior, right? So we're doing anterior, posterior, right? And really exaggerate, keep your chest lifted. We tend to start to collapse because we were like looking down. So we're like, I'll collapse and try to keep the spine long and lifted. How's that? How's your favorite side? It's like amazing, right? How can this be so sticky? How can this be so sticky?
It's funny because no matter where my legs are, I feel everything in my leg. My left is like even the other way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
Got it. Yeah, I did some.
Okay, now we'll work this leg. And this is that internal rotation as you breathe in. Exhale as you roll out. Okay, so rolling in and out. Good. And make sure you actually get it moving there in that hip joint. So, because it can be easy to just be like this, just kind of roll the skin. You don't want to do that. You got to get in there. Okay. And then from here, the last part is then you stand up. And we stand up. And then slow march in place. So bring the knee up and just a slow march. And you can bring your hands to your hips if you want. Or you're just kind of, thumbs will be on the sacrum there. Probably if you reach back, you might be able to feel that. I know sometimes when I do it, it'll be a little shaky, like it'll kind of quiver under my thumbs. Right. Nice. Now, I want you to go back to your partner and have them reassess your hips and see how that, if anything shifted.
This one is
They're really cool. They're looking pretty. Yeah, pretty.
Anna, how does that feel for you with my scoliosis friends? Cause that, I've had feedback that those with scoliosis, this is like, feels pretty nice.
It's
So like,
you're-
okay, good, good.
moving the muscle.
That's not pleasant, right?
No,
In the moment, it
no,
doesn't
but
feel.
it's good now.
Okay.
Very little.
You did it.
Sorry. You gotta do it all again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How the difference? Yeah, yay. Yes, yeah. Awesome. Peggy, how do you feel? Does that feel?
Yeah, said my, read my, and then my dad, what is it, higher level, but I feel like
I go back to my.
And then I was like, this is like this.
Yeah.
That's always it. I'm like, all right.
No, yeah, I started to have my eating problems.
You can.
And I got my.
Walking around, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, pain, right? It definitely can.
There.
But it feels, I was like,
Perfect.
I got her kid.
Yeah.
The ball is going.
Yeah. Well, this is where you start. This can be your moment. You're like, okay, maybe I'm gonna incorporate a couple things for myself. Yep.
Yeah, except just sitting there like,
And now I'm doing it again, but.
get the ball out.
Yes. Okay, friends.
I feel like
How was it? Yes? We make some changes, some shifts? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Magic, yoga magic. Here's the deal. So if we think about it, if our hips are kind of, if we've got that imbalance going, here's what I would recommend, especially for those of you who really felt like a difference. Here's when I would advise you to weave this into your world before you do any like major activity. Like when you come to yoga, like now, if you're not rushing to get to yoga, if you get there a few minutes before class starts, you could roll your feet out if that was something, and then do this. Do the SI stabilizer before, because if you think about it, in poses like airplane, warrior three, you're like, if you're trying to level out your hips, but you know that they're already kind of in that tweaked imbalance, it's harder to do. So if you can do that before, like right before you do yoga, that can help kind of get things set into place, and it might make your practice feel a little bit easier that way too. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Well, you're not broken. You're not broken.
Yet.
There's no fixing. We're not Peggy. Peggy's like, we are jacked and we are broken.
Effective for your body.
Yeah. Yes.
That was me.
Oh, I love that.
So I was changing perspective, so I've been saying that.
I love that. Yeah. So this is where for you, if you're like, well, how, like Peggy was just saying, when am I going to remember to do all, like to do all this stuff? It's like here, if these things, like, how could you weave it into your practice? Like when you go roll out your mat, throw that into the mix. Okay. Yes, you're.
I was gonna say, in my house, it's not that my dogs hate tennis ball, but, I'll randomly stash like a roller, a tennis ball by certain pieces of equipment, furniture.
Mhm.
And like, I'll be doing dishes or folding laundry and rolling out my feet.
I know, you should see our house. It's ridiculous. We have foam rollers, balls, like we have like this whole cabinet just full of all these things. And the cats will like dig in there and they climb in and they'll like throw something out. Like, that's, yeah, all the things. Cause right, it's just like all the things.
But don't trip on it and blame me.
Yeah, right. There's that. Yes.
We can keep our ball.
Yeah, these are for you to keep. Yeah, yeah, it's yours. Yes, yeah. Mhm.
I was gonna say.
It's only a $3,000 tennis ball. Don't say we never gave you nothing. These are the nicest tennis balls I've ever.
This is all for the tennis ball.
And all for the ball. That would be if you made t-shirts, all for the ball. I know. Yeah, we do. We at Center for Creative Leadership, we give them these bands to work out with, and I'm like, here you go. This is our gift. And I always laugh because it's ridiculously expensive for the week over there. I'm like, here's your gift for the week. Oh, here's, yeah. They do. Yes. Yeah, they do. Okay, let's, we're gonna do one more because I feel like this will be good. And then here's my thought. So we'll do this one more activity. This is going to be to work the legs a little bit. Then we'll take a lunch break. And then we're going to come back and work the joint freeing series. We're going to play around with that. And then we have, I posted in Google Classroom the other day, but private client examples. So then we're going to give you a chance to be like, okay, we've got a person. Now that you've learned all these things, how can we what would we do for this person and what would that look like? And that's kind of like how the rest of the day is going to shake out. Okay, sound good? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and just to ask you, so when we do have a private client, you want to do everything with probably people, but we're not gonna start with all the things you would do.
No, don't give them everything. Yeah,
Work on something for a while and then you
Yeah.
can switch it up.
Yep.
Right.
absolutely.
You have to just sort of decide what
Yeah. Exactly. I know, because we want to give them like all the things. Yeah. I mean, we all do it, right? We all do it. That's why you need your red edit pen. Kill your darlings, right? Like, there we go. Okay, so let's do, oh, God, I'm sorry. I am like, look at my just mess surrounding me. Let-
Yeah, everything, yeah.
I know, it's what we do. We can't help it. It's just ridiculous. God, what happened here? Oh, look at snacks, it's like yoga life, yoga teacher life. Keys, snacks, pens, you name it. Okay, what we're gonna do now is this one, we're gonna work on, especially because of all our friends with hyperextension, this can be another tool and knee pain that we'll often see happen with people. And I just actually did this with a client recently, and she's so cute. She's the best student ever. She is 81, and a friend of mine gives her massage and I teach her yoga, and it's so much, we just love her because we're just like, you give her an assignment and she does it. And like, she'll like go on vacation and she'll like text me pictures of like, it's just the best, but she's always doing the things. And this is the one thing she's been working on because she's had knee pain. And so we're going to look at what can happen with knee pain, a tool that we can use to really strengthen around it. Because when we often look at a joint in the body and when we see pain, it's not always what's going on in that area. So oftentimes we want to look above and below to kind of see like, is there some kind of imbalance or something, a weakness kind of going on somewhere in the body? But there's a really cool tool that we can use to kind of strengthen the knee. So it's the vastus medialis. It's this guy right here that we're going to look to engage. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you all come around me here, and I just need. I'm gonna set this up because I need a wall. You have to be at a wall to do this. What else? I can just use that block. Okay. Let me just so everybody come over here, please. All my stuff out of the way. So many things. Okay, so what will happen is you're gonna come here and you can use, I'm just gonna use this block, but you could do like a towel or another blanket underneath the knee, but having it for support. And so what we do is we sit up tall and you can kind of sit on the edge of this to make sure you're in like a Dandasana. So this leg is just gonna be stable. The foot's pushed into the wall. It's just like this. We're in mountain pose, nothing's happening. This is the leg we're gonna work on. So we're trying to build, so you can come around me if you can't see, but we wanna make sure that we get this guy, this vastus medialis, to engage. Okay, so what we do is we place something behind the knee to help with hyperextension, and then we turn the foot out a little bit. Okay, so you're sitting up tall, and I find that touching helps. That kinesthetic awareness to be like, is anything happening? So we squeeze and release, squeeze and release, squeeze and release. Okay, are we seeing this, right? Seeing that? Okay, and then we'll switch over, see how this leg's doing. Okay, squeeze. So this is this is my weaker side. It's not as much. So this is where I'm like, I know I should be doing this one a little bit more. If you want to see somebody who does this amazing, Miriam, who teaches Sunday mornings, when she did this, we were all like, oh my God, it just like popped, like so good. So if you want to see someone, or Chris Hirsch, if y'all know Chris, he like when he does this, those two, we were making them do it and it was pretty great. We were like, whoa, it just pops. And so what can happen sometimes is people because you work with them and you're like, do it. And they're like, I am. And this could be you when you try this, you might be like, yeah, nothing is happening. So this is one of those to build up. This vastus medialis runs here across the quadricep to build this strength to help support around the knee. Okay. Okay. So let's give it a try. So, and you want to do it when you do this exercise, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 times. Okay. Yeah. Find a wall. Put something underneath your knee. So like a blanket or you can do a block. I mean, a block is not like super soft, so it's up to you. So, and you sit up tall. So find Dandasana, have that pelvis tilted forward. The leg that's elevated, turn it out to about 45 degrees or so. And then feel it engage. Try to feel that pull up. Are we?
The foot out to?
Yes, turn the foot out a bit.
You're not.
Oh, you're not.
I think, okay, so this one. And then the other. Let's go up.
That is so much harder than I thought it was.
What is happening? The concept's great. But that means let's do it like that. Let's try it out. We'll stand on my foot. Like that. Your foot is against the wall. You will get it out 90 degrees. And then these are that. Push the foot into the wall. And it is like one of those. So great. Yeah. I mean, it's so. Whoever sit up a little taller, you can. Yeah. So like really like that big. I don't know. Yeah. It's like, I will go.
Your big toe.
There's something happening, but I don't know.
This is the side.
Not this whole thing.
I mean, it's just like, it does go up, so actually, you're focusing on this because that's what will happen.
That little thing. Yeah, you're good. But turn, yeah, when you're doing it, turn.
It's not just one at a time, yeah. I like to bend it.
Oh, online.
That's me.
Doing long meditations like that, this is about, and then I can kind of open it.
How are we doing, everybody?
And so maybe.
Question?
No,
You got it?
Yeah, but you can still talk to her again.
I mean,
I don't know if I told
This is a repetition, right?
This one here.
So have your foot flat on the wall. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah.
So put the heels on.
So not so much as that toe.
Now this is.
Okay, so it's just this area. This one plus.
No,
Just
it's
not-
not. It's for them. Yeah, that's what it says in the meditation.
Sorry, like. You're good. I just, yes. Imagine your walk.
Just saying.
You're good. So I'm gonna go lunch after this.
So do you think the fact that we were.
Are you heading home? Yeah. Yes.
That's all you're doing.
But I would look at the. He was all over the camera yesterday jumping.
If you, I leave the quad.
Balcony
I'd be flabbergasted when I make a video.
Even like one by itself,
Like one part. See, there's 4 muscles that build up one. I know people that can go on No, that's body weight.
Yeah. You can tell me how to fix that. Fix that.
Okay, friends, how are we doing? Okay?
It's just that you're the same.
Yeah.
Okay, friends, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, bye.
Let's be back. 1:30.
Can I tell you I need
Thank you,
it?
bye. Yes. Oh,
Oh, it might be depending on hours. I might
Thank you. She's so cute. Wild. I love her so much.
Oh, that's the best.
Come back. Okay. Yeah. Are you talking about your baby girl? Yeah. How old is she?
3. She's also named Eden. She'll be turning 4 this year.
Yeah, you know my daughters have a baby, right? 2 weeks. And it's a girl, this is something I'm really passionate about. And her name is Ray.
We need more girls. I love that name.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait this year. It's my first grandchild. Oh, that's.
No. I felt like I couldn't.
The first grandchild is gonna get spoiled.
And it might be only, who knows? But I will say, I'm the last one in the family, you know, everybody else is a zillion grandchildren. I have so many guys that I'm like, I don't want one. And one, I was like, I'm not gonna wait. And then she had a